Hello, and welcome to the Managing Engaged training. This training is a part of the SORT program that requires all student organization presidents and treasurers to complete in order for the organization to be in the active status this academic year. A few house rules before we get started. Be sure to follow along with the questions on the Engaged training form. At the end of this training, you will submit the form to count for your attendance. All information is provided to you on the screen or shared verbally, so you can choose to watch or listen to the training video. You are required to obtain an 80% or higher on the trainings, and because this is a pre-recorded training, you can start, stop, fast forward, or rewind the video at any time, as well as start and stop your training form on Engage at any time. Please be sure to submit the form by the due date to count for your participation. Let's go ahead and get started. To provide a quick overview of what today's training will include, we're going to talk about the first steps to managing a student organization profile. Then we'll go into a little bit more detail of the primary tools that are within your student organization profile that include the roster and permissions, events and attendance tracking, documents, forms, news posts, and elections. The first steps to managing your student organization profile. So Engage, I'm sure you've heard about this. I'm sure you've looked around on it maybe a time or two, or maybe you have even managed a profile for another student organization prior to completing this training. Just to provide an overview from a 30,000-foot view, Engage acts as a personalized profile for student organizations to showcase leadership and involvement opportunities to the WSU campus community. All active and registered student organizations receive an Engage profile, and you are expected to utilize that profile throughout the academic year. In some cases, it's even required for you to do things such as your roster, your events, and your finances, so your finance tab. So to view your student organization's profile, you're going to click on the hamburger menu, which is provided on the homepage's the homepage of the platform. I'm sorry. And so if you look here on the screen, you'll see a little menu. It has a greater than symbol and 3 lines. That's called the hamburger menu. You will click on that on the homepage, and it will then expand the rest of the menu for you to view some of the additional options. Some of the capabilities that you have within your profile include updating your roster, submitting event requests, housing documents, projects, constitutions, and involvement rosters, and etc. Create forms, submit budget and purchase requests, post news articles, hold elections, and submit service hours. If you'll see here on the right-hand side of the page of the screen here for the video, you'll see that I've expanded out my hamburger menu, and under the sort profile, I have a gear icon. That is all based off of my permissions. So I have the ability to manage the profile, which gives me that gear icon. And if for some reason someone in your profile or in your organization doesn't have that gear icon, but they need to be able to manage parts of the profile, you can give them permissions within the roster. So when you click on that gear icon, an additional menu will pop out where you'll see the list of your organization tools, which I've already shared like that list with you. So just to recap here, lots of things that your profile can manage, and it's all based off of your permissions. Your roster. Let's dive into this a little bit more. There are 3 main components to your roster that we really care about in terms of having an accurate and up-to-date roster. That will be through managing positions. So there are some predetermined positions such as the president or the treasurer, but there is the opportunity for your organization to have specific permissions that are connected to your student organization, whether that be a marketing chair, a special events director, somebody who is specifically in charge of a event or a specific fundraiser, anything like that. If you need to create positions or manage the access to those permissions, you would click on the Manage Positions button. Please note that the predetermined positions already have a full access of permissions of what they can do within the profile. So you can't change any of those, but anything that you specifically create for your organization, you can dictate if they have all or limited access. Next is your ending of the memberships. This is super important in the sense that if people aren't a part of your organization, you just need to get rid of them. It is as simple as that. Anybody who is no longer involved in your organization, somebody who has graduated, maybe they have left the university for some reason, you need to end their membership on Engage so that we don't think that their membership is active within your organization. To do that, you'll click on the little checkbox next to their name and click End Membership. And lastly, inviting members, you'll click on the Invite People button and then proceed with the prompts to invite members. This is equivalent to sending a friend request for members to join the profile. You also can connect those membership invitations to a specific position if you want to, or if you're doing like a bulk upload after a certain event, you can just submit all of the names in one text box and click send request or send invitation, and it'll just send them out as like a regular member, and then you can manage their positions at a later time. Some immediate action steps. One of the most important things that you should be doing as soon as your organization becomes active is updating your roster. So as soon as I send you that active status email, go ahead into your profile and start looking at who's listed in there, who you know is returning. Maybe after your first meeting, you'll want to do this, or after you made your first event, however your organization wants to determine this. But you should be updating your roster as one of the very first things that you do once you get active and the semester starts, or as like your organization is evolving over the academic year. You also can add members to your roster now or throughout the year. So if you know that people are, interested in joining, you can just take care of that now. And of course, you can assign those positions to anybody who needs the specific access. You also can remove, as an immediate action step, you can remove the members who have graduated or are not returning to your student organization. As cheesy as this might be, and as I like to say as often as possible, an active roster and an updated roster is a happy roster. So make sure, like, just for our own personal information of who's involved, pulling certain data, just knowing kind of the lay of the land with just some of the information that we can pull through Engage. Please, student organizations are responsible for taking care of this, and we trust you to be able to do this, so please make sure that your roster is updated. In terms of general management, if you wanted to invite students who you meet during the involvement fairs or during Fall Fest or any of the student expo or anything like that, you're obviously more than welcome to do that, whether you want to do that at the event or do it after. But also know that there are two other options for checking memberships on your roster, and that's through the pending and the perspective. Pending is whenever you have sent an invitation and you're waiting for someone to accept it, where perspective is where someone has gone on to Engage, saw interest in your organization, click the join button, and they are waiting for you to accept their invitation to join the profile. So there's like the current, pending, and perspective are the additional statuses for the roster. We then go into events. Events is absolutely, without a doubt, the most important thing of Engage. And is the most important way for students to know what's going on within your organization and across campus. So please understand and listen when we say that student organizations are required to submit all events and meetings that you host as a student organization. Absolutely required, whether it's on campus, off campus, whether it's virtual, in person, if it's a meeting, if it's a campus-wide event, it doesn't matter. If your student organization is doing it, representing a student organization, representing Wright State University, you are required to submit those event and meeting requests. In order to do that, you'll click on the Create Event button, which is the blue button in the right-hand corner of the screen, and that will open up the event submission form. All approved event request will show up under your events tab. So if you see here on the right hand side of my screen, you'll see that I took a screenshot of what my events list looks like for the sort profile. So anything that is approved shows up here, and then to add any additional events, I would click on the create event list. I do have some fun facts for you. Some of you might not know this, but one of my favorite party tricks of the create event and the event submission form is that you can submit one form for reoccurring meetings or events, and you actually can submit up to 18 dates within one form. So if you're having a reoccurring meeting every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. and Reich 154, you can submit fall general weekly meetings, put all of the dates for fall semester through one form. And then you can do the exact same thing for the spring semester if you're going to have, again, another reoccurring meeting time. Another fun fact is that you can actually schedule meetings and events 2 years out. So if you know that you have a reoccurring event and it's super important, whether it's like something with your sorority or fraternity, or if it's a campus-wide event, or if it's something that like a bake sale or fundraiser that you do specific to your organization, you can submit that 2 years out. And I encourage you to submit requests as early as possible. Myself and Event Services will work with you to make that happen. So taking it just a little, like one step further, you saw that list of events that were on the previous page. Well, now whenever you click on one of those events, that provides you the event details for that specific event. To manage that, you'll just click on the event name, and this is where you can kind of see all the additional pieces. That includes managing your RSVPs and any pre-registration questions that you might ask. It also will allow you to change details, cancel events, track other additional attendance, and view your post-event survey. I did provide a screenshot for you if you want to take a look at what that looks like. But just know that like there's a lot of ins and outs once you click on the events on your events list. So if you need to, let's say that you approved an event and you need to change the start time of the event, you would, to make a change detail request, you would click the change details button. And then to cancel your event, even, if it's a month out and you need to cancel it for any reason because you aren't available or for whatever reason, to cancel the event, you will click cancel event, which is at the very top here. Please know that I don't know if you cancel an event on Engage. So if you do need to cancel an event, you can cancel it on Engage, but you also need to email your event coordinator to tell them that you no longer need that space. I know that this is a lot of information and there's a lot of ins and outs to some of the details of Engage. And so I want you to know that there's additional resources that are like written materials. And then I also have training videos that are available on Engage and within the SIL YouTube page. So while this might feel a little bit overwhelming, there are additional supportive resources for you to view at a later time. Tracking attendance. So tracking attendance obviously happens within your events. It's super important for you to track your attendance from like a marketing standpoint, from a retention standpoint, just knowing who's showing up and if you have reoccurring people that might want to join your organization, whatever it might be. Within Engage, there are 5 main ways to track attendance. Some of the most popular options are through the QR code. There's also text entry, and of course we have our event check-in app. The QR code is actually already provided to you through Engage. And so you'll see here on the page that we have our event details. At the bottom, it says attendance URL, and right next to that is the view QR code. If you were to click that button for the event, you'll be provided a QR code that people can scan in to track their attendance on their own. If you have like a bigger event, or maybe you just can't manage tracking attendance at your event, you can always provide the QR code. Text entry is where people are literally just typing in their own WSU email. And the event check-in app is a little bit more robust, and it's best to explain that in a video and additional resources. So know that those 3 options exist and they're very easy to use. But again, it's just a lot of information. So there's additional resources available to you. Engage truly does set you up for success, though, within the event details to track your attendance. So we ask you to do that and to do it in the most effective way that works best for your student organization. Documents. Documents is pretty self explanatory in the way that it just allows you to house documents. So anything like a PowerPoint, Excel spreadsheet, photos, a Word doc, anything like that, anything that you would just save to a desktop, if you kind of think of it as like your own OneDrive, that's basically what it is for your student organization. You also can add folders for various projects. Maybe you have alumni rosters, whatever it might mean to your student organization. You can create those files and then or the folders, and then you can add the files to those folders. Also, know that there is an option for you to have permissions within the folders, which it provides a great deal of accessibility. So if there's a specific committee that needs to have a certain folder, but you don't want to have them let them have additional information in the documents, you can assign them to just that one folder. Forms. Forms is also pretty easy. It got a really big update recently. So it physically looks a little bit different than what we've seen in the past, which is great because it's more accessible and it's just easier to follow. Creating forms is an opportunity for you to gather information or signups. Maybe you need to get some data, or maybe you just submit some concerns or meeting information for your organization. It is completely customizable to your needs. And just in a quick overview of what this, I do have a screenshot here of what the settings of the forms looks like. So you would choose the name for the forms. You would choose to permit the active status. So you would enable the form status so that it shows up green. That means that it's live. And then you also can provide dates and times of when those forms are available as well. You also can, if you choose, you can enable the option to include the forms in explored forms list, which basically means that if an organization is asking you to sign up for something, or if SIL is asking you to sign up for like a locker or something, you can type in SIL lockers into the search bar at the top of the page, and because it's in that explore forms list, you can see it right away. It just gives you like the ability to share your form out with the rest of the community. And you also can provide permission to review and approve the forms, or if you disable it, it just means that you receive it. It doesn't mean that you have to actually approve or deny the request. So there's a lot of cool settings in here. Again, tons of information, tons of options. It's all based off of your needs and what you would like to have customized to you. So there are additional resources and opportunities for us to educate you on how to best use these tools. Newspost. Newspost is actually one of my favorite tools on Engage, and I think it's the most underutilized tool as well. This is your opportunity to showcase previous or upcoming events, fundraisers, exciting news. Maybe you want to do like a get to know the members kind of a thing, and you want to provide a quick news article, or a list of all of your upcoming dates for events or locations or anything like that. News posts can be shared on the homepage of Engage too. So if you scroll at the very bottom of the homepage of Engage, you'll actually see the whole list of news articles that are provided by all sorts of offices and departments and student organizations on Engage. This is a great opportunity to market what's going on within your student organization. It also provides you with the opportunity to have permissions for the news post, so it can be shared to the community or only to your organization. And lastly, we have elections. Elections is so cool, and it is super secure and trusted. So don't worry about people, trying to get access or trying to break into the system. They have to use a single sign-on through the Engage platform in order to vote on the election. So if you ever need to vote on major elections or just a decision of, when you're going to have meetings or anything fun like that, you can always create an election ballot. It's built just like a form. So you will provide your settings and like your properties, and then you will go into creating the ballots and having people vote in certain ways, whether that's for permission or for the specific positions, or if you need, to ask a series of questions for like a survey or something like that, you can always do that as well. You can include blurbs and pictures for candidates if you really want to get fancy. And you also can use the election ballot for internal or external purposes. So we use an external election ballot during homecoming, but you also can use it very internally, if you need to use it for maybe like committee members or your general elections or anything like that. You do have the option of exporting results, so it's a super effective way to get that information. You cannot see who voted for what candidate, but you can see the total number of votes or get a full list of the students that voted in the election as a whole. And then lastly, you can publish the election ballot on the homepage for student organization members. So if you want your members to vote for this specific election, you can click that option where it will give a banner on their homepage, and they'll be able to see that they need to vote in the election. So again, lots of really great information, lots of really cool tools to be aware of. I know this is a ton of information and we're just trying to get our trainings done. So if you're interested in learning more about some of these tools or just Engage in general, you can always come to our office, or you can check out SORT resources on Engage and on the SIL YouTube page. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for your participation in this training. I hope it was helpful and insightful to you. Don't forget to submit that, or click that submission button on the very last page to submit this form for your attendance, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.